extended period of years and contributions to the fields of speech and theater. To present this year's Sandford Award, please welcome Jeff Przybylo. I'm going iPad here. Last time I did this in front of this organization, it died. And hopefully it doesn't do that this time. So our award winner today for the Sandford is Judy Santacaterina, who's sitting right in front of us over here. And the first time I met Judy, it was 1986. I was a freshman frat guy, majorless, struggling academically and lost in so many ways on the NIU campus. And I saw this poster for a speech team, and I found myself in Judy's office inquiring about this activity that I had done and loved in high school. We had a great meeting, and I remember going back to my dorm and telling my friend Tom, "Hey, I just met the speech coach, man. Is she hot?" And I think if I played my cards right, we would be able to make the magic happen. But I'm pretty sure I used different words. I was right. I joined the forensics team, and Judy showed me the time of my life. But not in the way that I had hoped, but in a way that changed my life and set me on the trajectory that would define who I am, as well as my career. Like so many other people in this state, I owe Judy my life. You know, there are moments that we all have in our lives that are kind of burned into our heads, right? That you remember that your entire life. And one of mine was a day I was standing in Watson Hall at NIU, and one of our team members, Joyce Esther, was sitting in the hallway crying. And I watched Judy go up to her and ask her what was wrong. And I overheard Joyce say that she didn't have any money and that she couldn't pay her electric bill, and they were about to turn off her electric. And without hesitation, Judy reached for her purse and she wrote a check for Joyce. And I could not believe what I was seeing. And without knowing it, that day Judy taught me a very important lesson: to do whatever it is you need to do for your students. You know, Judy's name is synonymous with community education in the state of Illinois. She's worked with high school students each year at our very respected and popular Northern Illinois University Summer Speech Camp. Judy's also the longtime coach of forensics at Northern Illinois University. Additionally, she's an academic advisor in liberal arts at NIU, and both her undergraduate and graduate students have contributed at this convention, served in offices at this organization, and offices as high as president. The students that she has mentored and advised have gone on to be exceptional teachers, remarkable coaches, and virtuous citizens. I am one person who represents the hundreds and hundreds of students that Judy has taught lessons to. Lessons such as, always go for the laugh. Work as hard as you possibly can. Study hard, don't give up. Throw a killer Christmas party. Judy taught us all to use words like myriad. That's an inside one. She taught us phrases like scareball, hairy eyeball, and the schmorts. She taught us that when something is very far away, it's where Christ lost his shoes. I mean, whether you like it or not, she taught me how to love Breeders' Theater. But most importantly, you taught us to care, how to create a family, and how to pass it on. Countless numbers of Judy's high school and college students have gone on to have successful careers in communication education, forensics, theater, and her influence and guidance is undoubtedly key to those successes. She has emphasized throughout her career how important it is not to only foster learning, but to encourage her students to pass it on to others. She ignites the fires of educational curiosity, and for over 30 years has provided direction for those who seek it. Judy has always made it clear that it was our duty as her students and her colleagues to seek out learners in need of that same spark and to help them shine. It is nearly impossible to find someone involved in communication education in the state of Illinois who has not attended one of Judy's camps studied in her classroom, participated on her speech team, judged one of her students, attended one of her panels, been counseled by her, or had a life-changing conversation with her. Judy has influenced me in every single one of those ways. And I continue to pass on the knowledge and motivation that I have gained from having Judy as one of my best friends and my longtime teacher. So without a doubt, Judy Santacaterina has earned this award. The army of impressive teachers and students she leaves in her wake undisputably proves that fact. I am thrilled to present Judy Santacaterina with the 2015 Sandford Award.
Thank you so much. You know, as I began preparing my remarks, I kept thinking to myself, God, I am so blessed. My personal life and my professional are so tightly wound and intertwined. If it had not been for a speech tournament at Rock Valley in 1980, I would have never met my wonderful husband, Matt Swan. My mentors were like second parents, and my students were my children, and the members of this community, my second family. It takes a village to raise a professional, and I want to thank you for being my village. In the last 35 years, I've had the privilege of standing up here and talking to this group and presenting awards to teachers and former students. And while the thought of speaking in front of you is very intimidating, it was always a delight to talk about those wonderful and deserving recipients and highlight their numerous contributions and their amazing accomplishments. The challenge was never what to say or having enough to say. It was always, was I going to be able to keep in that time limit? And as someone who spent many years with Jack Parker's archaic kitchen timer ticking away, or Dorothy Bishop with her time flashcards, I can probably say that I never went overtime, and I hope to hold true to that today. But today is different. It's still a tad intimidating, and it's also very challenging, but it is also very rewarding and grateful. Reflecting back on my professional life, I see the journey not so much as a road, but as a continuous cycle, kind of like the seasons. And so, to quote Frank Sinatra, this might be described as the autumn of my years. My first connection to ICTA dates back to 1987 when my wonderful, wonderful mentor and teacher, Dr. Philip Gray, received the Edith Herrick Award, and he asked me to present. And there is a beautiful, classic sense of symmetry that nearly 40 years later, I have the extraordinary honor of being an ICTA Award recipient. And I believe that says not so much about me as it does the profound effect that this organization has on us as students, as mentors, and as teachers. I remember being a little awestruck, sitting at a table with the likes of Marion and Marvin Kleinham, George Tuttle, Larry Conway, Neil Clausen, Richard Hunsaker, Lynette Holliday, just to mention a few. And what I remember so vividly was how they all made you feel. It was the first time I felt like a professional, that I had something to bring to the table, that I had a voice. They taught and still do by teaching by example. Time passed, a new torch was lit, and the cycle continued. After teaching junior high, I eventually went back to Northern, became the director of individual events and a member of this board. And I continued to cultivate professional and personal relationships with wonderful people like Doug Jennings and Craig Cutbirth and Connie Link and Elijah Wilson. We were the new generation, and we were mentored and taught by the masters before us. And once again, this organization was pivotal in shaping and helping me grow into a professional. It was here, in this organization, that I began to see myself not only as a forensics coach, but as a mentor, an educator, and a professional who's going to make a difference in people's lives. New torches were lit, and the cycle continued. And my students became my colleagues. And I proudly watched my kids, like Jeff Przybylo and Dave Mays, and students that I had the pleasure to judge, like Lauren Morgan, who are now lighting the way. Emblematic of that beautiful reciprocity that is student and teacher. How grateful I am to them for rekindling in me a desire to come back and become an active member of this vital organization. New torches are lit, and the cycle continues. And perhaps in some ways, I've come full circle. As I look out and I see a new generation, many of whom I am so proud that I taught. Casey Abram, Chase Bloodsyan, Melissa Ensinger, Unella Viegas, Alex Avery. I am so inspired, and I am so full of hope knowing that the cycle continues. You're going to bring in your own innovation, and you are going to cultivate new traditions. To paraphrase, or maybe bastardize, I don't know, Gloria Steinem. People often ask me, who am I passing the torch to? Well, I'm not necessarily sure I'm giving up the torch or passing it. Although there are days, like today, when I feel like the light is almost completely extinguished and I need a little spark. But rather, I hope to share that torch, to use it to light other torches and make the world a little bit brighter. So to my family, my husband, to ICTA members past and present, and to all my students past and present, thank you for continuously lighting the way for me, for rekindling the flame,